Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Have you ever really stopped to think about the sheer power, almost like an alchemy, of your own thoughts?
Not just those ideas that kind of pop in and out, right?
Exactly, but as an actual tangible force that's, actively shaping your reality.
That's a huge idea.
It is. And today, we're diving deep into a philosophy that doesn't just make that claim, but actually offers a science for it. We're talking about the science of mind,
Right.
founded by the brilliant, and let's be honest, pretty unconventional Ernest Holmes.
Yeah, he was definitely his own man, born over a century ago, but his ideas still feel incredibly relevant.
Totally. He was this amazing synthesizer, wasn't he? He took ancient wisdom, modern philosophy, even like early scientific thinking, and wove it all together.
Into something practical, something repeatable you could actually use in your life.
Right. And his influence, wow. It stretched from the positive thinking movement folks all the way to, like, Hollywood legends.
It really did. So today we've gathered a whole bunch of his stuff, his big book, The Science of Mind, obviously, but also biographical bits and pieces.
And our mission, basically, is to pull out the key takeaways, the really important nuggets, so you can get a solid handle on what this system is all about.
Prepare to explore that idea that your inner world, your mental landscape, is the absolute key to what shows up on the outside.
We're aiming for those aha moments, but hopefully with a bit of humor, too. We want to get at not just what he taught, but why it still hits home for so many people.
Kind of a shortcut to understanding this really transformative way of thinking.
Exactly.
And what's so fascinating, as you hinted, is that Holmes never really aimed to start a religion, not in the usual sense.
Right, that wasn't his goal initially.
No, his goal was more about distilling these universal truths, things he saw across different traditions, into something teachable, something you could apply, like a
A
science.
framework, almost.
Precisely. A framework for understanding the mental and spiritual laws he believed govern our lives. And it's an invitation for each of us to consciously step up and engage with those laws.
So over the next little while, we'll look at his life, which is pretty unconventional in itself.
Definitely. And the core principles, the absolute bedrock of science of mind.
And how you actually do it, practices like spiritual mind treatment.
Yeah, the practical side. And we'll even touch on his views on things like psychic phenomena, which might surprise some people, and, well, the nature of existence itself.
It's a big picture view of consciousness, really.
It is. And it all comes back to how you, the individual, can become, well, more of a deliberate architect of your own life.
Okay, so let's unpack the man himself, Ernest Holmes, born January 21st, 1887. And his start in life was incredibly humble.
Yeah, no silver spoon here. We're talking a small farm near Lincoln, Maine. Poorest family around, apparently.
And the youngest of 9 boys. Can you even imagine? 9 boys.
The noise. But yeah, youngest of William and Anna Heath Holmes's brood.
And then, get this, at 15 years old, he just leaves school.
Which sounds like dropping out, but for him, it seems it was the opposite.
How so?
It wasn't that he disliked learning, it seems he just wanted to do it his own way. It was like the start of his self-education journey.
So right from the start, he's kind of proving that, a formal degree isn't the only route to deep wisdom.
Absolutely. He then heads to Boston, this young guy, and between 1908 and 1910, he's working in a store.
Just to pay the bills.
To save up for tuition, actually, at the Leland Powers School of Expression.
Ah, so for acting.
Not really. His main focus was public speaking. He wanted to learn how to express ideas effectively.
Okay, that makes sense given what he became. That was foundational.
Totally. And it was during this time in Boston he first encountered Mary Baker Eddy's Science and Health.
Christian Science.
Exactly. And that wasn't just casual reading for him. It was a major intellectual and spiritual spark. It really planted some key seeds for everything that came later.
Ignited that lifelong quest, you could say.
Yeah, to understand the laws of mind. What's really illuminating here is how he approached learning itself. It was internal, deeply personal.
Not just about cramming facts.
No, it was about acceptance, about feeling the truth of something. He called his own method long, laborious, tough, but it pays off.
I love that. Hard work, but worth it.
And he emphasized learning through everything. Reading, studying, and thinking, working, experiencing. Real learning, for him, was what you tell yourself in your own language, and accept because it feels both rational and inspirational.
That really speaks to his independent spirit, doesn't it?
Definitely. He called himself a nonconformist, always asking so many questions. I drove my relatives crazy.
Huh. I can picture that. The kid who never stops asking why.
Precisely. And he gave huge credit to his mother, Anna, said she refused to teach fear in their family, which was pretty unusual for strict New England back then.
Wow.
Mm.
So that foundation of fearless questioning plus his self-directed study, that must have shaped his ability to synthesize all these different ideas later on.
Without a doubt. No dogma, just exploration. Hashtag Be Californian Crucible and the birth of a philosophy.
Okay, so Boston sets the stage. He's learning to speak. He's digging into these new ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Then comes a big move in 1912, California.
Right. He follows his brother Fenwick out there. Fenwick was a Congregationalist minister who'd moved to Venice, California for health reasons.
Fenwick had a church there.
Yeah, apparently a pretty thriving one. So Ernest lands in Venice and, being practical, gets a job
Doing what?
as a purchasing agent for the city of Venice. And here's a great little detail.
Yeah.
He supposedly liked the job because it gave him plenty of time to study.
Huh? Perfect. So it wasn't just a job, it was like paid study time.
Mm.
California becomes this intellectual melting pot for him.
Exactly, a crucible for his philosophy.
Yeah.
And he really dove deep during this time. He read Ralph Waldo Emerson constantly.
Emerson, okay. The
Yeah.
transcendentalist guy.
Yeah, Holmes studied him all his life, said reading Emerson was like drinking water for him.
Yeah.
That emphasis on intuition, the divine within, clearly resonated.
Makes sense. Who else was he reading?
Oh, a whole range. Judge Thomas Troward, a British judge whose lectures on mental science were huge back then.
Right. Trow is a big name in New Thought.
Definitely. And Emma Curtis Hopkins, the mystic often called the teacher of teachers in the movement, plus guys like William Walker Atkinson, Christian D. Larson, all exploring the power of thought,
So he's just soaking it all in like a sponge.
but synthesizing it through his own unique lens, his own experience and reason. This incredibly rich mix is what fuels his own system.
And this is where it gets really interesting, right? Because his goal wasn't actually to start a whole new religion.
Not at all. His core desire, as he put it, was just to synthesize the writings of the times into one volume.
Synthesize it all.
Simple goal.
Yeah. Well, simple in concept, maybe.
Yeah.
But think about it. He wanted to bring clarity, make these complex spiritual ideas accessible and actionable for anyone.
To figure out the operating manual for life, basically.
Exactly. And that huge undertaking, that grand synthesis, became his masterpiece, the Science of Mind textbook.
The big one. Yeah. Years of study poured into that, and he called it a science very intentionally.
Why size?
Because he believed these principles could be taught, learned, and consciously applied to get definite, repeatable results, like physics or chemistry.
So not just blind faith.
No, it was about a testable, experiential understanding of how reality actually works, based on this universal law of cause and effect, mostly mental and spiritual. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. #C. From national reputation to foundational text.
Okay, so he's studying like mad in California, formulating these ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't take long for people to notice.
Not at all. By 1916, just 4 years after arriving, he's speaking to thousands of people every week in LA.
Thousands. Wow. His public speaking training paid off.
Big time. And his reputation just exploded. He quickly gained national recognition. But interestingly, people saw him as someone who stimulated others to think for themselves.
So not a guru demanding followers, but an empowerer.
Exactly. It wasn't about converting people. It was about waking them up to their own inner power.
And even though he said he wasn't a professional writer,
He wrote constantly. His first book, Creative Mind, came out in 1919, kind of his early attempt to get these big answers down on paper.
but the main event, the Science of Mind, was still brewing.
Right. And by 1925, he makes this huge decision. He stops his big national speaking tours.
Why? He was so
Would
popular.
concentrate on completion of the book. He needed focus.
Dedication.
Totally. And it worked. The Science of Mind was first published in 1926, then revised in 1938, translated into tons of languages. It became a global thing.
It wasn't just a book, though, was it? It sparked a whole movement.
It really did. He realized people needed a place to study and apply these ideas together. So in 1927, he started a monthly magazine and an institute in LA, the Institute for Religious Science and School of Philosophy.
Catchy name.
Maybe not. But these institutes, based on his practical, spiritual principles, they eventually grew into the religious science churches we know today, starting around the 1940s.
Communities built around these ideas.
Exactly. And if you think about the bigger picture, what Holmes did was create this bridge
The bridge between what?
between spirituality, philosophy, and this almost scientific approach to personal growth. And that unique mix just drew in a huge variety of people.
People looking for a practical guide to life, something that spoke to both head and heart.
Precisely. And his influence spread far and wide. Think of Norman Vincent Peale.
Mr. Positive Thinking.
Yeah, his ideas definitely echo Holmes's emphasis on mental causation, even if Peale's version became more mainstream.
And the Hollywood connection is fascinating, too.
Isn't it? Peggy Lee, the singer, Cary Grant, iconic actor, Cecil B. DeMille, the legendary director, they all found something powerful in Holmes's teachings.
Must have resonated with their own creative drive, maybe?
I think so. Even Les Mitchell, a big radio guy back then, was so inspired he completely changed careers in the 60s to start religious science churches.
Wow. That shows the impact. It wasn't just abstract theory. It offered a system, a rational way to transform your life.
From the inside out, moving from just thinking about change to actually creating repeatable results.
Okay, let's dive into the real core now. The absolute bedrock of the science of mind. This principle of oneness.
Right. This isn't just a nice idea, it's the fundamental shift in perception that everything else hinges on.
So what's the core teaching?
At the very heart, there is one infinite reality. Simple, yet profound. And Holmes acknowledged we call it many things: God, life, universal spirit, infinite intelligence.
First cause, the thing itself. He had a few names for it.
Exactly. The labels, he argued, aren't the point. The point is the underlying truth. One unified source for everything.
This one reality, how did he describe it?
As undivided, complete, and whole within itself. It doesn't need anything outside itself. It just is.
Okay.
But here's the revolutionary part, the bit that often clicks for people. This oneness creates everything out of itself.
Out of itself, meaning?
Meaning, there's no separation between the creator and the creation. It inherently includes everything, the tangible, the intangible, the physical, the metaphysical. It's all made of the same stuff.
So, no God sitting up on a cloud, separate from the world.
Not in this view. It's one seamless reality expressing itself as everything, like an all-in-one cosmic package deal.
Right, which leads directly to the next big idea, doesn't it? That we are a part of that.
Absolutely. Everything in the universe is made of the God substance and is a unique, individualized expression of God.
Stop right there. That's huge. Everything. Me, you, this microphone.
Everything. All unique expressions of that one divine substance. And therefore, you are not just something made by God.
Yeah.
You are an individualized center of God consciousness.
Whoa. Okay, unpack that. An individualized center.
It means the power, the intelligence, the creative potential of the entire universe is focused right where you are, expressing itself as you.
So we're not just puppets watching the show.
We're active participants, conscious architects. It dissolves that separation. The essence of God isn't out there somewhere. It's right here, living and breathing as you.
That completely changes the game in terms of personal power and responsibility, doesn't it?
Profoundly. It gives you inherent worth and incredible creative potential.
Okay, so if everything is one, how does that oneness express itself? This leads to the next key concept, the triune nature of being.
Right. Holmes taught that the one infinite reality manifests in three distinct but unified aspects: spirit, law, which he often called soul or universal subjective mind and body.
Spirit, law, soul, and body. Like a trinity.
Kind of, but maybe think of it more like three facets of a single diamond. And here's the really empowering part.
Yeah.
He said each individual is made in the image and likeness of the one infinite reality and has these same three aspects.
So we are microcosms. Little universes reflecting the big one, each with our own spirit, soul, and body.
Exactly. Understanding how these three work together, both universally and within us, is key to using the science of mind.
Okay, let's break them down. First, spirit. What's that?
Spirit is the active and the only self-conscious principle. It's the first cause, God, the universal I am.
The conscious mind part.
Yes, the power that knows itself. It's self-propelling, absolute, self-existent. It's the source of the word, of volition, choice, free will.
So spirit is the initiator, the decision maker, the thinker. The great actor, as he called it.
Precisely. Both universally and individually, it's the conscious directing intelligence.
Okay, got spirit. Next, soul or law or subjective mind. This sounds important.
Critically important. This is the receptive, creative, feminine factor. It's described as a blind force, obeying the will of spirit.
A blind force. That sounds passive.
It is in a way.
Yeah.
It's impersonal, mechanical, and mathematical. It's a mechanism through which thought becomes form. It doesn't originate ideas. It just executes the commands of spirit.
So it takes the blueprint from spirit and builds it.
Perfectly. It's deductive only. It works out the details intelligently, but doesn't initiate. And get this. Holmes said it's infinitely more intelligent than our present state of conscious mind, yet
Yeah.
it's completely controlled by our conscious mind, our spirit aspect.
Wow. So it's like this super intelligent servant waiting for orders.
Exactly. And it's also the seat of memory, holding everything we've ever experienced, plus what he called race memory or race suggestion, the collective beliefs and tendencies of humanity.
Okay, that raises a big question then. If the soul is this blind force, super smart, but just taking orders.
Then the clarity and the intent of our conscious thought, our spirit, becomes absolutely paramount, doesn't it?
Yeah, because the soul doesn't judge the order, it just fulfills it perfectly.
Exactly. Holmes used analogies like electricity or math. Does electricity care if it cooks your dinner or burns down your house?
No, it just does what it does based on how you use it.
Right. The law of the soul is just like that. It's precise, impartial. If there's an error in what manifests, it's not the law's fault. It's in the thought, the projection that started it.
So full responsibility lands back on our conscious thoughts and beliefs.
Squarely. Your subjective mind is this brilliant, obedient servant just waiting for your clear direction.
Okay, spirit thinks. Soul creates based on that thought. What's the third part? Body?
Body is the effect, the form, the manifestation, the physical universe, our physical bodies. These are the manifest body of the one infinite reality.
The result of spirit working through law.
Correct. And matter isn't static. He saw it as a constantly flowing, formless substance, forever coming and going. Our bodies are constantly changing, regenerating.
Reflecting that flow.
Yes. And the absolute crucial point here, the body is always an effect, never a cause.
Nothing external is the cause. Nothing causes itself to happen.
According to Holmes, no. All causation starts in spirit, your conscious thought acting upon the law, the subjective mind. So if you want to change an effect, you have to go back to the mental cause.
Always looking inward for the source. Hashtag C. The creative nature of thought. Okay, this flows perfectly into the next huge idea. The inherently creative power of our thoughts.
Yes. This is where it gets really practical and honestly transformative. Holmes observed God thinks and the world comes into being.
The universe starts with a thought.
And then he draws the direct parallel. Likewise, all human accomplishments originate in thought. Our human thinking process is a reflection of the divine creative process in microcosm.
So our minds work on the same principle as the universal mind, just smaller scale.
Exactly. Every invention, every artwork, every solution, every decision you make, it all started as a thought. It's like we've got this mini universe building kit in our heads.
And he really emphasized how sensitive this process is, didn't he?
He did. So plastic is mime, so receptive that the slightest thought makes an impression upon it.
Every little thought leaves a footprint.
That's a good way to put it. It's this constant, subtle shaping of our reality through our moment-to-moment thinking.
Which is a stark reminder, then, that our mental garden needs really careful tending, right? Every thought is literally a seed.
Absolutely. Holmes used that exact analogy. He said, if a gardener plants 1,000 kinds of seeds, he will get 1,000 kinds of plants. It is the same in mind.
So if your mind is full of weeds, or just a jumble of different seeds,
then you must expect to receive a confused manifestation in your life. If you think, I want that promotion one minute, and I'm not good enough the next.
You're planting contradictory seeds.
Exactly. And the subjective mind, being like that neutral soil, it doesn't judge. It just takes the thought seed, whatever it is, and gets to work trying to grow it.
So clarity, consistency, focus, they become crucial if you want a harmonious life.
Paramount.
Yeah.
Your inner world absolutely dictates your outer harvest. You have to be a conscious gardener.
Okay, moving on. Holmes weaves together these two huge forces, love and law. How do they fit together?
Beautifully, actually. He saw them not as separate, but as intrinsically linked, like two sides of the same coin. He said, love is divine givingness, which is the nature of spirit. Love is the impulse, the desire to create and share. And law is the way of creation.
So love is the what and the why, and law is the how.
That's a great way to think about it. Love points the way, and law makes the way possible. Imagine love as the inspired inventor and law as the perfect engineer who builds the invention flawlessly.
And when they work together?
In perfect harmony, they produce a harmonious universe and a perfect creation. It's this elegant system where divine compassion meets intelligent, unwavering order.
Ensuring everything ultimately works towards good, even if it doesn't always look that way from our limited view.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is this idea that the universe isn't random or chaotic. It's perfectly ordered.
Governed by predictable, profound laws.
Yes. And Holmes hammered home that the law operates impersonally. Remember the electricity analogy?
Yeah, it doesn't care if it cooks dinner or burns the house down. It just responds to how it's used.
Precisely. The law of mind is the same. It doesn't judge your thoughts as good or bad. It just responds to the blueprint you give it through your thinking.
So our thoughts, whether we're conscious of them or not, set these forces in motion.
And the law will ultimately bring back to us the results of the forces which we set in motion through it. It's pure cause and effect.
Which again puts enormous responsibility on us for our mental state.
Absolutely. It's not about being judged. It's about understanding the operating principles and aligning with them consciously. When you grasp that, you shift from feeling like a victim to being a master of your own mental environment. #E, universal abundance and personal accountability.
This leads perfectly into another huge concept.
Yeah.
Universal abundance, and our personal role within that.
Yes. Holmes taught something truly radical. All that anyone will ever need or desire is already provided by universal abundance.
Already provided.
Yeah.
Not something we have to struggle for.
Not inherently. The universe isn't stingy. And here's the kicker. This applies to everybody, not just some people. Every person is heir to the riches of creation without regard to merit.
Wow. Regardless of merit. So it's not about being worthy or deserving.
Nope. It's an inherent birthright. Lack, in this view, isn't a universal reality. It's a perceived condition we often impose on ourselves through our beliefs. We just haven't claimed our inheritance.
Okay, so if the abundance is there, how do we access it?
Through what Holmes called the reciprocal universe. The idea is that what we receive corresponds to what we imagine and believe we can receive. He called this the law of mental equivalence.
A direct match between our inner belief and our outer experience.
Exactly. If you deeply believe you can only have crumbs, the universe, being impartial, reflects that belief back to you. If you genuinely believe in and imagine boundless possibilities, it responds to that.
It's like a mirror.
A perfect mirror. And this principle is also there in the Golden Rule. What we do unto others, mentally and physically, creates a cause that brings back a corresponding effect. It's a constant feedback loop.
So it really sounds like your material reality isn't just some random roll of the dice.
Not at all. It's a direct reflection of your inner belief system, your dominant thoughts and feelings.
And what's even more mind-bending, your true thinking self is actually beyond the physical brain. That's a huge shift in perspective.
It is. Holmes was very clear on this. He said the brain is just an organ like an antenna. It is not the brain that thinks at all.
So who or what is thinking?
The thinker is behind the brain, using it as an instrument. Think about electricity again. You don't see the electricity, you see its effects, like light.
Right. So we recognize the thinker by its actions, its thoughts.
Exactly. And this is crucial because it means our mental abilities, our consciousness, isn't limited by the physical brain. The thinker, our conscious mind, has the power to impress ideas onto that universal subjective mind.
The soul, the law.
Yes. Which then, through its perfect mechanism, brings those ideas into form. It confirms that our internal world, our beliefs, expectations, convictions, is the real source of our external reality.
Our creative potential isn't stuck inside our skull. It's basically limitless.
That's the profound implication.
Okay, so if our thoughts are that powerful, and our subjective mind is this super intelligent servant, how do we actually direct it consciously? How do we make it work for us?
Great question. This is where Holmes introduces his core practical technique, spiritual mind treatment.
And this isn't prayer in the traditional sense, right?
Not at all. It completely flips the usual idea of prayer on its head. It's not about begging, pleading, or hoping. It's about confidently knowing a spiritual truth that already exists and aligning your consciousness with it.
Accepting and receiving what's already true, he said.
Precisely. It's a scientific approach designed to align your conscious thought with the universal law, like following a specific formula. And it has distinct steps.
Okay, what are they?
First, recognition. Acknowledging the one infinite reality, God, Spirit. Second, unification. Consciously merging with that reality, knowing you are an expression of it. Third, realization. This is key, declaring the desired outcome as already true in mind, not asking for it, but affirming its current existence.
So you say that it's fact now.
Yes. Yeah. Fourth, thanksgiving, expressing deep gratitude for its manifestation before you see it physically. And finally, release. Letting it go, trusting the law implicitly to bring it into form without anxiety or trying to figure out how.
It's a very deliberate, structured process.
Very. Holmes called it an act, conscious thought, an art, needing conviction and feeling, and a science because it produces verifiable results through impersonal law.
And what about practitioners? He mentioned they play a special role.
Yes. He found that treatments done for others by trained spiritual counselors or practitioners could be even more potent.
Why? Do they have a special hotline to God?
No, it's not about special access. It's about their training and their deep conviction. The practitioner doesn't plead with God for the patient. They declare the truth for the patient. Meaning the practitioner works to convince themselves completely of the patient's inherent perfection, wholeness, and well-being. They see any illness or lack as just a false condition, a temporary mistaken belief.
And by holding that truth firmly,
They help neutralize the false thought pattern in the patient's subjective mind, allowing the inherent perfection to come forward. It's co-creation, based on universal laws anyone can learn.
like having a skilled guide who really knows how to impress that positive blueprint onto the creative medium.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Hashtag B, the precision of affirmation and visualization.
Okay, so treatment sets the stage. This leads right into the need for precision in our ongoing thoughts, affirmation, and visualization.
Yes, building directly on treatment. Holmes stressed that a sustained belief in a particular outcome will invariably create that outcome.
Sustained belief, not just a fleeting wish.
Right. Consistency is key. Good events proceed from a belief in good. Evil events proceed from a belief in evil. Our dominant mental focus creates our reality. It's like sculpting. You keep working the marble until the form emerges.
And he had that strong advice. Never look at that which you do not wish to experience.
Yes. No matter what the false condition may be, it must be refuted. This isn't denial in a Pollyanna sense. It's refusing to give mental power to negative appearances.
Because focusing on the problem just anchors it more firmly.
Exactly. And he had that brilliant line about the infinite knowing, no difference between $1 million and a penny. It only knows the ITIS.
Meaning the law just responds to the idea of existence, the isness of your thought, regardless of scale.
Precisely. If you impress upon it that something is health is, abundance is, love is, it takes that as its instruction.
Okay, and visualization plays a big role here too.
A huge role. And what's fascinating is the detail he encouraged. This is not passive daydreaming.
No.
It's active, immersive engagement with the desired reality. Mentally seeing the things that you wish to have or to do as clearly as if they were already physically present. The clearer the image, the better the mold for the universal mind.
Can you give that home example again? It was so vivid.
Right. To demonstrate a home, you don't just think, I want a house. You visualize the specific kind of home. You mentally go from room to room, stopping here and there to look at some piece of furniture or at some picture on the wall.
You make it totally real in your mind.
You feel yourself living there. You might even say aloud, I am now living in this house. You create the mental equivalent, the feeling of the wish fulfilled.
And crucially, focus on the end result, not the how.
Yes. Conceive of the ultimate of the idea, but never of the process. Visualize yourself in the job, not the steps to get it. The universe handles the logistics. The effect is potential in the cause, your thought.
And concentration. How do you hold that focus without straining?
He advised doing it without effort. Gently bring your attention to the idea. Hold it peacefully. Brush away distractions gently. Feel at ease and at peace. Concentration, he said, is always from within, an effortless focus.
So, not forcing it, but cultivating that clear inner vision, letting the universe align with it.
Exactly. It's a receptive alignment, not a forceful demand. Hashtag C. Daily practices for cultivating consciousness.
Okay, so this is clearly way more than just doing a treatment now and then or visualizing once a week. It sounds like a whole way of life.
Absolutely. You're right. It's not just positive thinking in a vacuum. The science of mind offers a rich tapestry of daily practices to really cultivate this conscious awareness and live these principles.
Making it a way of being, not just thinking.
Precisely. One cornerstone practice is called practicing the presence.
What does that involve?
It means deliberately engaging in methods to quiet the mind and body meditation, contemplation to open your awareness to that one infinite reality, making space to feel that connection.
Like dedicated quiet time.
Yes, but it's also about living from that awareness throughout the day, making choices, speaking, acting in alignment with these principles, living consciously, not just reacting on autopilot.
Okay, what else?
Self-awareness. This is huge. Being really conscious of your own motivations, your inner chatter, those hidden beliefs that might be running the show.
Taking responsibility for your inner world.
And your outer choices. Silence helps here. Creating inner quiet allows you to actually hear yourself think, to observe without judgment. Spiritual coaching, journaling, guided imagery are all tools for this too.
Peeling back the layers.
Exactly. Then there's gratitude. And Holmes saw this as way more than just saying thank you.
How so?
It's a powerful attitude, almost like a magnet that attracts and multiplies good. It's about accepting with perfect faith that which has not yet manifested as if it were already here.
Feeling grateful before it shows up.
Yes, and journaling your gratitude daily is a really powerful way to cultivate this. Alongside gratitude comes compassion.
Seeing the divine in others too.
Yes, practicing oneness. Respecting the true nature in everyone, all life, and yourself. Actively claiming the same good for others that we accept for ourselves, it fosters that interconnectedness.
What else is key?
Giving and receiving. Understanding life as a flow. Consciously participating in the circulation of universal good, time, talent, money. Freely giving keeps the channel open for receiving.
Keeping the energy moving.
Precisely. And finally, and this is crucial, ongoing spiritual education. Continuously learning and applying these principles through courses, reading, study. It deepens understanding and embodiment.
So it really is a comprehensive system for living, isn't it? Infusing every moment with intention.
It's a journey, definitely. And these practices are like the reliable tools you use along the way. #D, the power of I am and overcoming negation.
This brings us to something incredibly powerful in Holmes's work, the affirmation I am, and how we deal with negativity.
Yes, the I am is central. Holmes called it the supreme affirmation. It's that declaration given to Moses, he said, and it's constantly with us.
A recognition of our own divine identity.
Exactly. And it must always be used as an upbuilding force. It's not just words. It's aligning yourself with the ultimate creative power, declaring your inherent beingness.
And then there's his take on evil, or sin, which is pretty radical.
It really is. He taught, there is no sin but a mistake, and no punishment but an inevitable consequence.
No sin, just mistakes. That takes away a lot of guilt.
It does. Evil, for Holmes, wasn't some external force. It was simply a misuse of the law of freedom, acting out of alignment with our true nature. And it disappears in the exact proportion that we cease using destructive methods.
So it's about learning and correction, not judgment and damnation.
Right. And he urged us to completely erase the idea of failure. He even said, there are no mistakes, none have ever been made, and none ever will be made.
Wow. That doesn't mean denying missteps, does it?
No, it means reframing them, seeing them as learning opportunities, data points, not condemnations, just feedback from the law.
Okay, so that implies a profound level of responsibility for our inner world then. Understanding that our awareness shapes our experience, and the punishment is just the law reflecting our own actions back to us.
Exactly. It leads right into his idea of non-resistance. He interpreted Jesus's resist not evil very practically.
Yeah.
He saw it as non-recognition of evil is the only way to avoid it. Why? Because what we persist in recognizing, we persist in holding in place.
So fighting against something just gives it more energy, more reality in our minds.
That was his view. So how do you remove a negative thought or condition?
How?
You don't fight it directly. Instead, you pour in an opposite thought. This opposite thought meets the other and neutralizes it.
Like using a neutralizing agent, actively replacing the negative with the positive truth.
Exactly. It's a systematic approach to mental hygiene, emphasizing our active role in choosing what we affirm and what we deny within our own consciousness.
Okay, here's where things get really interesting, maybe even a bit mind-bending for some. This universal subjective mind. Holmes suggested our thoughts aren't just stuck in our own heads.
Not at all. This concept radically expands our view of mental influence. He taught there is but one subjective mind in the universe, and all use it.
One shared subconscious, almost.
Kind of. Our individual subjective mind is just our personal use, our unique access point to this vast, universal creative medium. And this creates a fundamental subjective unity between all people.
We're all connected on this deep mental level, whether we realize it or not.
Far more than we consciously realize. And this interconnectedness explains how thought can literally travel.
How healing or influence can happen at a distance.
Exactly. Holmes observed people who could think of others and heal them. It seemed to make no difference where they were. This ability, he argued, points to a common mind somewhere through which his thought operated.
Our thoughts broadcast onto this universal field, like radio waves.
That's a good analogy. Our intentions, beliefs, focused thoughts aren't confined. They influence the field, and those receptive can pick them up.
Which also leads to the idea of race suggestion, right? This collective mental stuff.
Yes, a crucial concept. This is the accumulated subjective tendencies of the human race. All those widespread, often unconscious collective beliefs.
Beliefs about sickness, poverty, struggle, limitation.
Exactly. Think about collective fear during a crisis, or deep cultural assumptions about success or relationships. These race suggestions are operative through any person who is receptive to them.
So this collective mental atmosphere can unconsciously shape our own experiences if we're tuned into it.
Definitely. If you absorb the belief that life is hard, that suggestion can color your reality unless you consciously neutralize it in your own mind.
But it's not all negative, is it?
No, thankfully. Holmes also believed there's a powerful underlying subjective tendency toward good, that humanity fundamentally believes more in good than in evil, despite appearances. So we can also consciously align with that collective hope and well-being.
Understanding this helps us choose which influences we allow in.
It's key to mental discernment. #B. Mental influence, malpractice, and obsession.
Okay, so if we're all connected in this mental field, that means influence can flow both ways, positive and negative.
Right. Like electricity, thought power can be used constructively or destructively. Holmes directly addressed what he called malpractice.
Which sounds ominous, like black magic.
He called it modern black magic, yes. It's the use of thought power for destructive purposes. But importantly, it wasn't just about intentional malice.
How else could it happen?
It could be ignorant, like constantly reinforcing someone's illness through excessive sympathy, focusing on the sickness instead of their inherent wholeness, or even innocent, where deep anxiety about someone might inadvertently add energy to their struggles.
So any strong negative thought directed towards someone or held about them can have an impact if they're receptive.
That was his understanding, but he also offered a powerful antidote. He asserted that no one with real understanding of the truth will be affected by it, nor seek to use it. Immunity comes from knowing, deeply knowing, that there is but one mind, and we know that it cannot be divided against itself.
Holding that belief in unity acts like a shield.
An impenetrable shield, because you know fundamentally that division and opposition have no ultimate reality in the one mind.
What's fascinating here is how rational his approach seems, even to these potentially spooky topics. He brings it all back to mental laws.
Exactly. He makes it understandable and, crucially, manageable through conscious choice. He also talked about obsession.
What did he mean by that?
A form of mental control, conscious or unconscious. It could stem from one's own intense desires or habits, or from external suggestions, atmospheres of places, or even, he acknowledged, discarnate spirits.
And the protection.
Again, conscious affirmation. The statement that only the one mind controls will protect us from any and all wrong mental influences, regardless of the source.
Aligning with the one mind as the only true power.
Yes. He even applied this to insanity, defining it not as a moral failing, but as the subjective mind completely overriding the conscious mind. And he believed it was easily healed by knowing that there is but one mind, and this mind, our mind now.
That's a deeply compassionate and empowering view on mental health challenges, restoring sanity through realignment with the perfect unified mind.
Absolutely. It consistently brings responsibility and power back to the individual's conscious alignment. #C, the spectrum of psychic capacities.
So it seems like Holmes is giving us this framework to understand things often labeled paranormal, not as weird outside forces, but just as different ways the laws of mind operate, maybe on an unconscious level sometimes.
Precisely. He dedicated a lot of thought to the spectrum of psychic capacities, seeing them not as mystical powers to chase, but as inherent functions of the universal mind manifesting through people.
But he had warnings too, right?
Big warnings. He stressed that psychic power should always be under full control of the conscious mind. Uncontrolled psychic stuff, he said, is dangerous because you can pick up all sorts of unexamined junk. And he stated, no greater mistake was ever made than thinking being controlled by some outside force is spiritual power.
True spiritual power is self-directed from within.
Always. Then he explored specific abilities, analyzing them through this lens of mental law.
Like clairvoyance.
Yeah, the ability to see things that the objective eye cannot see. He saw it as a kind of mental eye with extended vision, able to perceive beyond time, space, and physical barriers by accessing that unified subjective field.
And psychometry. Reading objects.
Yes, holding an object and reading its mental atmosphere, its history, its energetic imprint from the soul or subjective side of things.
Clairaudience. Hearing voices.
The ear of the soul, hearing the inner voice, sometimes as distinct voices. But he advised caution, always test if impressions come from the perfect mind or lesser influences.
What about ghosts and apparitions?
He discussed apparitions or thought forms often seen during stress or near death, and ghosts forms of those who've passed. He acknowledged they seem real, can convey messages, but was not absolutely sure if they were actual entities or projected thought forms. Either way, he insisted they certainly can do no harm to someone grounded in truth.
And things like moving objects without touch, telekinesis.
Phenomena like table tipping or rappings, he said, demonstrate that objects can be moved without physical contact, pointing to a non-physical power over matter.
A levitation, too.
Yes, lifting a medium's body. He argued this showed a power that transcends the better-known physical laws, suggesting mind over gravity.
Did he buy into ectoplasm? That weird stuff mediums supposedly produced?
He acknowledged the theory but found it didn't explain everything, like a glass of water appearing from another room. He preferred the idea of a mental body or just the sheer power of thought acting directly.
And projecting your mind like astral travel.
The possibility to project the mentality and travel far from the body. He speculated it could be a mental body or simply seeing through the one mind across distance.
So the key takeaway is that these aren't supernatural chaos. They're manifestations of mind power, ideally under conscious control.
Exactly. He aimed to bring them under the umbrella of understandable mental laws, demystifying them. He believed eventually we'd all have conscious control over these faculties, a grounded, empowering view of the paranormal. #D, the present reality of immortality.
This connects beautifully to the bigger picture, doesn't it? Holmes offers this systematic view of our eternal nature, shifting focus from some future hope of immortality to a present reality within us right now.
Absolutely. His take on immortality is incredibly comforting and empowering. He starts with the common definition, persisting after death, retaining memory and recognition.
Standard idea.
But then comes his powerful declaration, the real paradigm shift. We are not going to attain immortality, but that we now are immortal.
It's not something we get later. It's what we are right now.
Exactly. It's an intrinsic reality of our being as individualized centers of God consciousness, not a future reward.
And how did he support that?
Logically, he argued, we should assume we pass from this life to the next in full and complete retention of all our faculties, thinking, reasoning, remembering, feeling.
Because the thinker isn't the brain.
Precisely. He circles back to that key point. The brain is the organ. The thinker thinks through the brain. So the thinker, our true spiritual self, our consciousness, is independent of the body and survives its death.
Consciousness isn't snuffed out. It just changes its form of expression.
Right. And he took it further, stating, the facts are conclusive that we have a spiritual body now and do not have to die to receive one.
A spiritual body here and now.
Yes. Death, then, is simply a passing from one plane to another, and planes are just different states of consciousness, not places. He saw Jesus' resurrection as an example of this, a spiritual body superseding the physical.
Wow, what about connecting with those who've passed?
He believed an unconscious communication goes on more or less all the time with the subjectivity of the departed. While messages might seem very incoherent to us now, he felt loved ones are still conscious of us and trying to influence us mentally for good.
So a sense of continuity and connection beyond the physical.
Yes, a systematic view affirming our timeless, indestructible nature within the one mind. Love and connection really do transcend the veil. It offers deep peace about our eternal journey.
Okay, so it really does sound like it's not some angry God punishing us, but just the universe, through its impartial law, mirroring our own thoughts and choices back, allowing us to learn, maybe with a cosmic nudge.
That's exactly the perspective Holmes offered. He tackled those huge questions of evil and suffering head-on, arguing they aren't inherent realities, but direct results of our misuse of freedom.
The problem of evil, he said, is not a thing of itself, but is simply a misuse of the law of freedom.
Right. Evil isn't an entity. It's simply that which is destructive to life, harmony, wholeness, and it arises from our choices, often made in ignorance.
And that famous line, there is no sin but a mistake, and no punishment but an inevitable consequence.
A truly liberating concept. If we misapply the law, make a mistake, we get an automatic consequence from the law itself, like touching a hot stove. It's feedback, not divine wrath.
And right action, aligning with the law, is automatically rewarded.
Yes. It shifts sin from a moralistic judgment to a matter of understanding and applying natural law. No eternal hellfire, just continuous opportunities to learn and adjust course.
Okay, so how does this view empower us to take responsibility for our own healing and transformation, rather than just waiting for someone or something outside to save us?
Great question. Holmes interpreted the Garden of Eden story symbolically. Eden represents our original state of perfection before we started learning through experience.
And the tree of knowledge.
Represents the life principle itself, usable for good or evil. Our choice to depart from good through ignorance or misuse is, paradoxically, necessary for us to consciously choose to return to good, but this time with understanding.
So God doesn't interfere. Lets him alone, for he is a free agent, Holmes said.
Exactly, which means salvation is an act of man and not an act of God. We save ourselves to the exact degree that we stop damning ourselves. We become whole, or one, when we stop living in duality or being two.
And Jesus' atonement. How did he see that?
Not as a sacrifice demanded by God for our sins, but as Jesus's conscious giving of the self as an example for all time that God is love. Jesus demonstrated how to overcome mistakes by consciously aligning with divine truth.
He showed the way, rather than paying a debt for us.
That's the idea. Man needed the example. It puts the power and responsibility for transformation squarely back onto the individual's shoulders. Self-discovery and conscious choice are the path home. #B, the power of imagination over will.
This leads to another really subtle but crucial distinction he made. The power of imagination versus sheer willpower. It's not about gritting your teeth and forcing things, is it?
No, quite the opposite. He saw willpower as necessary sometimes, but as a creative agency, it is non-existent. It is not creative but directive.
Meaning willpower can steer something already in motion, but can't start the engine.
Pretty much. Trying to force things with will often implies struggle, resistance, pushing against reality. Creation, for Holmes, is about alignment, not force.
So what is the creative agency then?
Imagination. He made this incredible statement. Imagination taps the very roots of being and utilizes the same power that brought the worlds forth from chaos.
Wow. Imagination connects us directly to the universal creative force.
That's the idea. The worlds were framed by the Word of God, he said, and our thinking, especially our focused imagination, mirrors that divine process. Imagination creates the blueprint.
It's the original creative spark.
Exactly. And again, clarity is key. Visualizing means mentally seeing the things that you wish to have or to do. Seeing them very clearly, using all your senses, presents the universal mind with a precise image, a mold.
Like the job example, don't just think new job, but visualize yourself in it, feeling the success and happiness.
Yes, create the feeling of the wish already fulfilled. Immerse yourself in that reality mentally.
And always focus on the end result, the ultimate idea, not the messy how.
Correct. Trust the law, the universal mind, to handle the process. Your job is to hold the clear vision, the cause. The effect is inherent in that.
And concentration, again, should be effortless.
Without effort, gentle, persistent focus, feeling at ease and at peace. It's an internal, receptive attention, allowing the image to sink into the subjective mind to be manifested. Alignment, not struggle.
Okay, so we've talked about changing our outer world, but Science of Mind also talks about transforming ourselves, how we show up, our personality.
Absolutely. This isn't just about thinking good thoughts in isolation. It's a holistic approach that includes embodying these principles. Holmes's idea of a dynamic personality wasn't about superficial charm.
We're not putting on an act.
No, it was about an inner radiance shining out because you're aligned with spiritual truth. He said the external personality really reflects the soul. It's the coming forth of God or life into self-expression.
Allowing your true divine self to be visible.
Yes, and it has boundless possibilities. He listed key factors for this authentic presence. High characters, sincerity, mastering something well, ability, enthusiasm, service, wholesomeness, a consciousness of success.
Self-confidence, humility, emotional control, spirituality, health, even a clear voice and appropriate dress. It's quite a list.
It is. It shows how every aspect contributes to the energy you emanate.
And what's fascinating is that he ties this outer charm directly back to inner alignment, doesn't he? It's an inside-out job.
Totally. He stressed, anyone wishing to develop a pleasing personality must first become pleasant. He must think pleasing thoughts.
Not forced cheerfulness, but genuine inner clearing.
Right. Sweeping away animosity, resentment, choosing not to have your feelings hurt easily, understanding that holding on to negativity just dims your own light.
And he had that affirmation practice. Wonderful, wonderful me.
Yeah, an ancient practice, he said. Not vanity, but perceiving yourself as a divine reality. This, he believed, brings forth that subtle power, the atmosphere of reality, an undeniable authenticity.
And ultimately, it connects back to oneness, believing the same good for everyone.
Exactly. Be sure that you believe the same thing about all people. Each lives unto all, within the one life. That recognition of unity is the foundation of true personal power and presence. Hashtag D. The dynamics of emotion, desire, and expression.
Let's get a bit more personal now. Our emotional life. It sounds like Holmes saw it not just as feelings, but as a powerful energy system needing conscious direction. Like, if you don't give it a healthy outlet, it causes problems.
Precisely. He had a profound grasp of emotional dynamics. He even used the term libido, referencing that emotional craving or wish behind all human activities. And crucially, he noted its repression leads to psychoneuroses. Oh, it was quite ahead of its time.
So bottling things up is bad news.
Definitely. He warned, unless it becomes expressed, it will congest and cause a conflict within the mentality. Like damming a river. Inhibited action leads to complexes, nervous disorders. Energy must find an outlet.
Even things like constant irritation could be suppressed desires or unexpressed creativity.
That was his suggestion. So balance is key. In a healthy person, emotion is guided by intellect, not squashed, but consciously directed.
Uncontrolled emotion leads to chaos.
But unexpressed emotion leads to internal confusion and complexes, anxiety, depression, even physical issues.
What about love and sex? How did he approach those powerful energies?
He called love the most wonderful thing, creates the highest form of energy, defining it as the givingness of the self. Sex desire, he said, is perfectly normal in its proper sphere. If the givingness of love is complete, sex takes care of itself.
When does it become destructive then?
Only when it remains an unexpressed longing or gets misdirected, causing internal conflict.
So the solution isn't repression.
No, it's conscious transmutation and sublimation. You transmute any destructive tendency into some form of action that is constructive.
Channeling that intense energy into something positive.
Yes, into creative work, service, athletics, a broader expression of love. This transfusion of energy into high action produces, he said, a magnetism that is irresistible and wonderful.
So becoming an alchemist of your own inner energy world, directing it consciously for a vibrant life.
That's the goal, vital for inner harmony and outer fulfillment.
Okay, bringing this all together, it feels like Holmes's entire philosophy leads to this ultimate freedom, found through understanding our unity with the whole and mastering ourselves. A joyful, abundant life through aligning our consciousness with spirit.
That's beautifully put. Yes, the journey culminates in this ultimate freedom born of unity and self-recognition. Holmes declared, man will be delivered from sin, sickness, and trouble in exact proportion to his discovery of himself and his relationship to the whole.
And that core message, life is from within and not from without.
Absolutely fundamental. Our outer world mirrors our inner state. Our health, wealth, relationships, they reflect our beliefs and thoughts.
So how do we achieve this freedom, this liberation?
Through conscious cooperation with the whole, from now on we will expand, grow, and express only to the degree that we consciously cooperate with the whole. It's an active, deliberate alignment.
And while God is principle in personal law, there's also a personal aspect.
Yes, he beautifully balanced this, emphasizing the infinite personalness in and through all life. He said, God is personal to all who believe in him. God is responsive to all who approach him, making the divine both universal and intimately accessible.
And he gave some practical advice for maintaining this state, like blinding ourselves to negation.
Right. Blind ourselves to negation as far as we are mentally able to, meaning consciously choose not talk, think, or read about anything destructive that doesn't serve your highest good or align with truth.
Not denying challenges, but refusing to feed the negativity. Protecting your mental garden.
Exactly. And finally, he urged us, never hesitate to say that we know the truth, because we do. For the realization of the unity of God and man is the truth.
Owning that truth.
Yes. And knowing it requires continually penetrating deeper and yet deeper into our own divine nature through practice, reflection, self-awareness. This inner journey, recognizing our unity with the infinite, is the path to freedom, self-mastery, and consciously creating a life of joy, peace, and abundance.
An ongoing, exhilarating adventure into ourselves.
Couldn't have said it better myself. #outro.
Wow. What a truly profound deep dive that was into Ernest Holmes and the science of mind. We've really seen how he meticulously wove together all these threads, ancient wisdom, philosophy, this surprisingly scientific view of consciousness.
To offer a clear, practical pathway for conscious living. It's quite remarkable.
Totally. From understanding the triune nature, spirit, soul, body, to the nuts and bolts of spiritual mind treatment, and even his, well, pretty rational take on psychic stuff, he really gave us a comprehensive blueprint.
A blueprint for how our thoughts literally build our world.
Yeah. And the core message that keeps coming through is one of immense personal power, but also, profound responsibility.
Definitely. You're not just a victim of circumstance drifting along.
Right. You're an individualized center of God consciousness, equipped with the inherent ability to co-create your reality through these universal laws of mind.
It's a huge call to elevate our thinking, isn't it? To really embrace love and abundance as our natural state, and to consciously direct that boundless energy within us.
With purpose and intention.
Indeed. His work really pushes us past superficial views of life, doesn't it? To engage with reality at the causal level, the level of consciousness.
And by applying these principles, treatment, visualization, gratitude, self-awareness.
You embark on this ongoing journey of self-discovery and conscious creation, transforming challenges into growth, expressing that inherent perfection he believed is inside every single one of us.
Still residing there, waiting to be expressed.
Absolutely.
So maybe something to think about as you go about your week is this. How often do we unconsciously define ourselves by what we think we lack, or by the limitations we see outside us?
Instead of defining ourselves by the infinite reality and boundless creative power that we actually are.
Exactly. Ernest Holmes's work feels like this vibrant challenge, this urgent invitation, really.
To recognize that inherent perfection within you first, and then to align every thought, every word, every action with that truth.
It's an invitation to step up bravely and take on that magnificent role, the architect of your own experience.
It really is all waiting for you.